What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast, Talking with Beauties, episode 133, the Wednesday news. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about the NHL because we got a lot of records to mention, plus injuries coming out of star players in the NFL. And we have one of the most anticipated matchups in college football this season to talk about. But first, let's head into the MLB. So today's episode, we're talking about the MLB. Game 4 just finished up of the World Series. I actually waited to make this episode because I wanted to see what happened in that game, because we have a 3-1 series lead for the Los Angeles Dodgers over the New York Yankees. And as of right now, I think this is a great World Series. I mean, personally, obviously, I'm an Angel fan, but I'm an Ohtani fan. I love Ohtani. I'm always going to love Ohtani. Does it suck to see him in Dodger blue? Yes. But have I come full circle around it and I'm okay with it? Also, yes. I would love to see Ohtani have a ring. Whether that was in Angels red or Dodger blue, I don't really care, but I want to see him with a ring. And this is definitely the best chance of him doing so. Let's get into each game. Quick recaps of what happened. Starting off in game 1, Dodgers won this one 6-3. Huge walk-off home run by Freddie Freeman. Grand slam to end it. He becomes the first player in World Series history to hit a walk-off grand slam. That surprised the hell out of me. I would have never thought that he would be the first and only person to do this with how old baseball is. But congrats to you, Freddie, for making the history books with that one. Dodgers go up 1-0 in that series. Game 2, back at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers win that one 4-2. Freddie Freeman with another home run. Yamamoto with a gem. 6 1/3 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, coming off of Juan Soto's solo shot. 2 walks and 4 strikeouts. So 2-0 series lead going back to New York. New York hosting their first game of the World Series since I believe 2011. And the Dodgers ended up spoiling that first game. 4-2 win again by the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman with another home run in that one, a first inning 2-run shot. Buehler looked great. 5 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. We head to game 4, which was earlier today. I'm recording this on Tuesday night. Dodgers looked good out of the gate. Freddie Freeman with another 2-run shot in the first inning, hitting 6 straight World Series games with the home run, becoming the sole record holder of that. So congrats to you, Freeman. Volpe, although for the Yankees, hit a grand slam in the 5th inning, ended up being the game-winning RBI in the end, made that game 5-2 at that point. Yankees would hold on, win big though in this one, 11-4. The bats finally did come alive for the Yanks, although Aaron Judge did get an RBI single in this one. Overall, still does not look good. Doesn't look like the regular season regular season Aaron Judge. Juan Soto looked pretty good. Rizzo kind of struggled. Stanton kind of struggled. But overall, Yankees bats came alive, saved the series to move on to Game 5, which will be played tomorrow. Jack Flaherty for the Dodgers versus Garrett Cole for the Yankees. 5:08 p.m. Eastern time, or excuse me, Pacific Standard Time on Fox. Should be a great matchup. I think the Dodgers are going to close this one out. If they don't, this will be the first time ever that we see a Game 6 after a team going down 3-0. The last 9 of those teams to go down 3-0 actually were swept in the World Series. So this is the first time since the 60s that we are seeing a Game 5 after a team going down 3-0. So this is pretty big. I don't really expect the Dodgers to lose the next 4 games. Even if it does go to 7 games, I don't expect it to get to that point. But who knows? Anything could happen. We saw it with the NHL. The Panthers went up 3-0, lost 3 games, ended up winning in Game 7. That game honestly could have gone either way. So who knows? Anything could happen. I expect the Dodgers to close this one out in Game 5, though. All right, let's head to the NHL now, where we got a lot of records from the past 2 weeks. Obviously, we didn't have an episode last week. I kind of jumbled up a bunch of stuff from last week and this week for news for the rest of the week. So we have Philip Gustafson, goaltender for Minnesota, scored his first NHL goal and first one for Minnesota Wild history versus St. Louis last week. So congrats to you, Gustafson. Washington's Alexander Ovechkin recorded his 700th assist, joining Gretzky, Yager, Howe, Marcel Dion, and Phil Esposito in that category. Pittsburgh's Sidney Crosby recorded his 1600th point, becomes the 10th player to do so. And in that same game, Evgeny Malkin scored his number 500th goal, 48th player overall to do so, 20th to do so, to do it with only one team. So congrats to both the Pittsburgh boys there. Florida's goaltender Sergei Bobrovsky eclipsed a 400 win mark. He's the first Russian goaltender to do this. Not surprised, Bobrovsky has been around forever, and he's been a very solid goaltender, not just for Florida, but for Columbus as well. And I believe he had a small little stint in Philadelphia. So he's been one of the top goaltenders ever since coming in. So congrats to you, Bob. A couple of injuries to note. Utah's Sean Durzi will be out 4 to 5 weeks with an upper body injury. New York Islanders' Anthony Duclair will be out 4 to 6 weeks with a lower body injury. And St. Louis Blues' Rob Thomas will be out 6 weeks with a fractured ankle. Then we got some contracts to talk about. Vegas Golden Knights extend Shea Theodore 7 years, $7.425 million AAV. This is a great contract. I think Shea Theodore is one of the top defenders, not just on this Vegas roster, but in the NHL. I think he's very highly underrated. He's going to do very well in Vegas for another 7 years. And I still kick myself to watch that Anaheim actually had this guy during the expansion draft. They chose to not protect Clayton Stoner and wanted to protect, or actually they chose not to protect Sammy Vatanen, which freed him up. They were afraid of Vegas picking up Vatanen at the time. Unfortunately, they made a quote-unquote trade, which would send Shea Theodore over there for, I think, a very low draft pick, but Vegas would also have to pick up Clayton Stoner as their expansion pick from Anaheim. At the time, Anaheim maybe would have been a good situation, yes. Looking back at it now, Sammy Vatanen, although we did get the trade for Adam Henrique in the end of it, I could see this one definitely being a loss in Anaheim's book. Shea Theodore has been one of the best players in Vegas' history. He's one of 3 remaining original Vegas Golden Knights. Him, William Karlsson, and Brandon McNabb. So those are the last 3 original Vegas Golden Knights, and Shea Theodore will be there for another 7 years, which is going to be outstanding for Vegas. We'll move on, though. Goaltender from Dallas, Jake Ottinger, got 8 years, $8.25 million AAV. I think Ottinger is definitely a top 10 goaltender in this league. I think he's very fun to watch, and he definitely won my heart about 2, maybe 3 years ago now in the playoff series against Calgary, where he single-handedly beat Calgary to move his team on. Unfortunately, they did lose in that second round for Dallas, but Ottinger, ever since that series, has won my heart as one of the best goaltenders in the league. So 8 years, 8.25. Great job there. Toronto extends Jake McCabe 5 years, 4.51 AAV. I actually don't know too much about McCabe, but of what I've heard from Leafs fans, they seem to be pretty happy about this, and it doesn't seem to be too expensive. So we'll see if that pans out, but I'm not too sure. I don't have a strong opinion about Jake McCabe. New York Rangers extend Alexis Lafreniere to 7 years, $7.45 million AAV. I actually know Lafreniere well. I know his game. Very highly anticipated player coming into the league. Was the first overall draft pick in his class. But with Lafreniere really not producing at the top level, it gave him actually more time to develop as just a normal NHL star. And he's becoming that really solid second and third line guy in that New York Ranger roster. I think Lafreniere for 7.4 could be a little high as of right now, but with the cap going up in the future years, and when you get closer to the end of this contract, and Lafreniere hopefully would still be producing at the rate he is right now, 7.4 is going to be a bargain. So as of right now, it might not look too hot, but Lafreniere seems to be getting better as the seasons go on, and I expect this contract to age well for the Rangers. So I think this is another good contract signed by the Rangers here. We got a quick little news. Tristan Jarry of the Pittsburgh Penguins, goaltender there, was sent down to the AHL on conditional loan. This means he will only be down in the AHL for a max of 14 days, aka 2 weeks. He's been struggling this year, an .836 save percentage for Jarry. The team honestly has not been all that great, 3-6-1 entering Tuesday. So not a good situation for Pittsburgh there. And Jarry was supposed to be their number one goaltender moving forward for a number of years, really filling in that spot after Matt Murray's unfortunate quick end to his lustrous career in Pittsburgh. And Jarry just doesn't really seem to be that guy. I don't know what they're going to do. If you guys watched the preview episode of the NHL, I said Pittsburgh should go after Marc-Andre Fleury. I still think that is a very good possibility if Pittsburgh is sticking around in the playoff hunt. If they're not, I think Minnesota is probably going to hang on to the rest of the year. But could be something interesting down the deadline. Maybe a new goaltender in Pittsburgh would definitely be a possibility for the Penguins. All right, let's head to the NFL. We got injuries from the past 2 weeks to talk about. Not good names to list off, though. New Orleans wide receiver Rashid Shaheed will be out for the rest of the season with meniscus surgery. That's a big offensive threat for the Saints there. Las Vegas quarterback Aiden O'Connell will be out 4 to 6 weeks with a fractured thumb. Cleveland's Deshaun Watson will be out for the rest of the season due to an Achilles rupture. San Francisco wide receiver Brandon Ayuk out for the season with an ACL and MCL tears. Seattle's DK Metcalf will be considered week to week with an MCL sprain. And 2 Tampa Bay Bucks, Chris Godwin will be out for the rest of the season with a dislocated ankle surgery, and Mike Evans will be out till week 11 with a hamstring injury. And last one to talk about was earlier today, Houston announced wide receiver Stephon Diggs did tear his ACL and will be done for the rest of the season. A lot of names there that you do not want to see on the injury report. Definitely for Tampa Bay, as they struggled this week. They did lose to Atlanta, and honestly, it came down to not having enough offensive threats in my eyes. Tampa Bay might struggle going down in the future, these future weeks here. But Deshaun Watson, his season's done. Jameis Winston stepped up in his place. We get into now game results and takeaways. Cleveland did not look all that great in my eyes, but defensively a lot better than what we've seen in the past. They beat the Ravens 29-24. I will say though, Winston's game-winning touchdown pass, the pass before, should have been an interception. It was dropped by Kyle Hendricks, I believe is his name. And that would have sealed the deal for Baltimore. They would have won that game. Next play, absolute dot by Winston in the end zone. They win 29-24. So good win by Cleveland. Maybe Jameis Winston will help save the season, but I do not see Cleveland making playoffs. They pretty much could just look better than what they're doing now. That's pretty much all I can see with them. Other games, Niners did beat the Cowboys on Sunday night, 30-24. Little wishy-washy there in my eyes, but the Niners, a win. A win is a win. Excuse me. So that's a positive there. Cowboys dropped to 3-4. Commanders with the final of the week win it 18-15 over the Bears. The Bears were able to drive down into the last minute, score what everybody thought was going to be the game-winning touchdown. That was not the case. Last-second Hail Mary by Jaden Daniels, 52 yards out into the end zone, tipped up, found Noah Brown in the back of the end zone. Washington won this one 18-15. Big win. They move up to 5-2 and keep the lead in their division. Bad thing is for the Bears, they do not look good moving forward. They're 4-3 right now. Good season, especially compared to last season. But the thing is, they have one of the toughest schedules remaining in the NFL, and they haven't even played a division game, and they're in one of the best divisions in football right now. So not a good situation for the Bears. Going 5-2 definitely would have helped and made those future weeks a lot easier. But 4-3, you're asking a lot for the Bears to make playoffs at that point. So that's definitely going to be a huge struggle moving forward for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. All right, let's head to college football. So I'm not going to put 2 weeks in together. I'm going to just talk about what happened last week. The only news we're going to talk about from last week, or from 2 weeks ago, is North Carolina State quarterback Grayson McCall, who left the previous week with a horrendous injury. He was carted off the field, announced that he is retiring from football due to all the injuries. So that's tough news. And also Michigan quarterback Jack Tuttle announced that he is also going to be retiring after sustaining his 5th concussion in the most previous game for the Wolverines. So 2 quarterbacks ending their dreams due to injuries. So that's unfortunate news for them. But let's get into game results to talk about. Number 20 Illinois visits number 1 Oregon. They got smoked 38-9. Oregon honestly does look like they are the best team in the nation. Ohio State hosted Nebraska. They won that one 21-17. Sloppy game on Ohio State's end, but a win is a win. Good win by the Buckeyes. You love to see it. We move on to Texas versus Vanderbilt, number 5 versus number 25. Texas just edging out Vanderbilt 27-24. Honestly, a very good game by Vanderbilt. Could have been a little bit cleaner, but overall they stayed in it. Defense did look pretty good against Texas. LSU played Texas A&M on the road, and number 8 team gets destroyed 34-23 against number 14 ranked team in the country. Unfortunately, that scoreline does not really show how lopsided that second half was. A&M went off with that second half. A huge win by the Aggies, and I would even say that the Aggies have a great chance to be in that SEC title game with how lopsided the standings are. They are on top of the SEC title, or the standings. Could be making that title game. I actually would say they have a great chance to make that title game with the remaining schedule. So we'll have to see what's going on with the Aggies there, though. Notre Dame went to a MetLife Stadium to play Navy. Navy got blown out in this one. 4 turnovers in that game, losing 51-14. Big win by the Irish there. Missouri went to Alabama, and they didn't even put up any points. They lost 34-0. Alabama back on the winning track there. Kansas State, 17th ranked in the country, just edging out their in-state rivals, Kansas, 29-27. SMU beat Duke in overtime for this one, 28-27. And the last one to talk about, TCU beat Texas Tech 36-35, a very good, close game. Tech just not able to hold on to the lead. Texas Christian University pulls off a big come-from-behind win, and the Horned Frogs move on into a little higher in the standings and just kind of jumbles up more Big 12 standings there for Texas Tech. All right, let's head to top 25 now. We'll start off with the top 5. Oregon don't move at all. Georgia does not move. Penn State doesn't move. And Ohio State don't move. So 1 through 4 do stay put. Miami does get a +1 to 5 though. Texas drops 1 to 6. Tennessee stays put at 7. Notre Dame gets a +4 to 8. BYU gets a +2 to 9. Texas A&M gets a +4 to 10. Iowa State and Clemson both share number 11. Nobody at 12. Indiana stays put at 13. Alabama goes up 1 to 14. Boise State gets a +2 to 15. LSU drops 8 to 16. Kansas State drops 1 to 17. Pitt jumps up 1 to 18. Ole Miss drops 1 to 19. SMU gets a +2 to 20. Army gets a +2 to 21. Washington State goes from unranked to 22. Colorado goes from unranked to 23. Illinois and Missouri both drop 4 to 24 and 25. Navy drops out of this one along with Vanderbilt. But other receiving votes, Vanderbilt did have votes 41. Memphis with 34. Tulane with 28. Navy at 23, and Louisville at 5. All right, let's head to top games of the week. Not that much in my eyes compared to the previous weeks, but obviously I think we had the best matchup that we are going to see this college football season. We've had some good ones. Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Georgia. This one, Ohio State versus Penn State. Number 4 versus number 3. That is at 9 a.m. on Fox. So that is game day site. That is going to be my circled game for sure. So that's going to be a fun one to watch. Next, we got Texas Tech versus number 11, Iowa State. I don't know what to expect out of Texas Tech. Iowa State is still undefeated, so they're trying to keep that undefeated season alive. That's at 12:30 p.m. on ESPN. Could be a really close matchup. It's Big 12 football, so anything could happen. And then you got number 18 Pitt at number 20 SMU. That's at 5 p.m. on the ACC network. I think Pitt has a really good chance to win this one, but SMU don't sleep on them too much. But anything could happen. I think Pitt, being on the road undefeated, I don't want to count them out, even though SMU is favored in this game. And last one, TCU versus Baylor, in-state rivalry, 5 p.m. on ESPN2. TCU coming off a big win. Baylor does not look all that great, but TCU obviously needs a couple of these wins for to be bowl eligible. So that's just another game to keep your eye on as well. All right, let's head to underdog picks. So 2 weeks ago, I had Oregon State, and they did not cover against UNLV, so that was a bad beat there. So I'm not going to pick Oregon State for the rest of the year. That's 2 games that I picked them, and they have not covered at the very least. So season total stays put at 56. This week, because we didn't have one last week, we got Pitt versus SMU. Pitt at a plus 7.5. That game is at 5 p.m. on the ACC network. I do think Pitt has a great chance to win this one. At the very least, keep it close. I think it's going to be a really entertaining game between the two. But I'm going to roll with Pitt with an outright win. I think that is a great opportunity for Pitt to just prove themselves to the committee, to the media, to the world, that they are the real deal. So should be a very entertaining game in the ACC this weekend. All right, let's head to college hockey. Let's head straight into notable results. We'll start off with Friday. Providence had to go to overtime with Vermont. They ended up winning that one 3-2. UMass and UConn ended up tying 3-3. Boston University ended up getting smoked by number 7 North Dakota 7-2 on the road. So big win by North Dakota there. And Minnesota State hosted Omaha, winning that one 3-4. We had a Saturday. New Hampshire ended up beating number 10 Quinnipiac 3-2. Providence and Vermont went to overtime and had to use more, so that one ends in a tie for number 12 Providence. Long Island ended up beating number 17 Notre Dame 5-2. Maine, number 6 in the country, ended up tying with Northeastern 2-2. Boston College ranked 2nd in the country, ended up beating number 13 Western Michigan 4-2. Number 15 UMass ended up losing to UConn 3-2. Number 7 North Dakota did not get the weekend sweep against Boston University, who was ranked 3rd in the country. Boston University getting the win 4-3. And lastly, Omaha getting swept on the road against number 16 Minnesota State. That one ended in a 1-0 game. Now let's head into the top 25 according to the U.S. Hockey Magazine. That moving forward, I will state that will be the rankings we're going forward, but that is the ones I am looking at. There are 2. That is the one that ESPN goes off of, and that's the one that I think most websites do go off of, so I'm going off of the U.S. Hockey Magazine. So let's head into the rankings now. Denver and Boston College stay put at 1 and 2. Michigan State gets a +1 to 3. Minnesota gets a +1 to 4. Boston University drops 2 to 5. Maine, North Dakota, Cornell, Colorado College stays put at 6, 7, 8, 9. St. Cloud State gets a +4 to 10. Michigan and Providence stay put at 11 and 12. Quinnipiac drops 3 to 13. Western Michigan drops 1 to 14. Ohio State gets +2 to 15. Minnesota State stays put at 16. UMass gets -2 to 17. Penn State gets +2 to 18. UMass Lowell goes from unranked to 19, and Notre Dame drops 3 to 20. The only ones to drop out was Omaha from the 19 spot. And other receiving votes, we had Clarkson, Union, Harvard, Omaha, and New Hampshire. Top games of this weekend, though. Number 11, Michigan goes to number 5, Boston College. Number 5, North Dakota goes to number 8, Cornell. Number 18, Penn State goes to number 4, Minnesota. And number 2, Boston College will go to number 10, St. Cloud State. So really good weekend for college hockey there. Let's head to the Arizona State update. ASU improves to 3-4-1 after a weekend sweep in Northern Michigan, 3-1 and 2-0 wins on Friday and Saturday. Friday, we had Shimmick, Kirwan, and Eckerly all with goals. Luke Pavicic was in net for the Devils. He got 15 of 16 saves in that one. When we head to Saturday, a lot quieter goal-wise. Kirwan with 2 goals, one being an empty netter at the very end. Gibson Homer was in the net for the Devils in this one. 22 save shutout for him. This upcoming weekend, ASU is on a bye, so a good little hold off, rebound, as they will have to face Colorado College in their first NCHC conference games. So that should be very entertaining to watch next weekend against Colorado College on the road, top 25 school. A lot on the line, I think, for Arizona State. Definitely want to get on the positive side of the win record, but Colorado College is a very good, respectable team. Could be a very interesting games to watch in the next 2 weeks. All right, no cleanup this week, so let's head straight into games of the weekend. We got NHL Stars versus Panthers, a 2-game set in Finland because it is the global series. It is early games, but they are always fun to watch. For the NFL, I got the Rams versus the Seahawks Sunday at 1:25 p.m. on Fox. English Premier League, I got Manchester United versus Chelsea Sunday 8:30 a.m. Bundesliga, I got Bayern Munich versus Union Berlin Saturday at 7:30 a.m. ESPN Plus. College football, I got number 4 Ohio State versus number 3 Penn State 9 a.m. on Fox. And lastly, college hockey, number 7 North Dakota versus number 8 Cornell. All right, guys, that would do it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening. 133 episodes in the books. Make sure you guys are liking, commenting, subscribing. You guys are following the socials, all that kind of stuff, because I need to get these numbers up. I want to try and continue to make out these best content. And the more views I get, the more ambition I have to make bigger and better episodes. As of right now, I might be making a couple of episodes in the pipelines. Don't want to give those out too much because I have a lot of other things I need to get done, like school, but I have a lot of stuff that could be going on here in the future. So make sure you guys are staying tuned to the social medias to find out what's going on with the podcast. Plus, you guys are subscribed, hit the bell notification so you guys are notified when these episodes do drop, whether that is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Appreciate you guys if you guys are following or subscribe to any of or all of those. But 133 episodes in the books. Appreciate you guys listening to this one. Have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.